Well, hello my fellow car modelers, how you doing today? I just got something and I gotta share it with you because I'm pretty excited about this, even though I have countless amounts of this kit, but now there's a new version out that is what I always wish they put out. Well heck, let's show you. Whammo! Thank you, round two. That is really cool that you guys put this out with the, you see that? You see the difference there from all the other ones? Well, I know you probably already saw this kit. There's already been videos put out of it, or just revealing it and some build-ups of it. But what I'm going to do, of course, is what do I always do? I'm going to compare it to some old stuff. I'm going to compare it to the original version of this kit. There was a couple of different versions that came out way back in 2000, I believe. So this is like a 20-year-old kit that they finally did the right thing and make it a standard nose full bumper. I am really not a fan of what everybody calls a split bumper, but it's actually the RS Enduro nose with bumperettes. It's the correct version. I was a heavy Camaro guy long before I was a Mustang guy. See, I got the shirt for it, right? And I owned a few of these cars and was heavy into it, and all of mine were full bumper. And I was even gonna, when I got my one finished that I never got finished, unfortunately, I missed that car. I was gonna put a sticker on the back one that says, no, it's not a split bumper. That's how much anti-split bumper I am. With that being said, I'm gonna make this into a split bumper, kind of. That's the weirdness, but no, we'll get to that later because I'm gonna discuss why I was looking forward to this kit, and I've made hints in past videos of what I am wanting to build, and I'm really excited about this. And this was something that you could do because there were aftermarket front ends put out years ago. MPC put out, and AMT back in the early 70s, kits that were standard nose Camaros, and some guys just chopped that off and offered it, but it wasn't done very well, so you really had to make the thing look right to work with the original version of this kit, which was the Ball and Motion Camaro, or the Z28 that AMT did back in 2000. Then there was a aftermarket company that did a really excellent nose that basically incorporated some sections of the Ball and Motion Z28 kit with the annual AMT full bumper standard nose kit from the early 70s and made it into a conversion for the split bumper. And I know a lot about this kit on account of you watching the guy who mastered the original one. And there were a few resin casters that stole that. But I have the proof because I still have the master, and I'm going to show it to you guys. And I'm going to compare my work from 20 years ago to what they did to make this. The conversion was cool, but I think what I'm expecting to see in this kit is something that the conversion didn't have that's going to make what I want to do much easier. And we're going to cover all that. So let's just get into the kit and get into the comparisons and get into me blah blah about what I want to do and my comparisons to my old work in many levels. When they announced this, I was excited. Let's take a look at it. So let's have a fun time with some Camaros here. I pulled out some old kits that this kit is based off of, and we had for a long time. We're looking at over here are the two versions that came out back in around 2000. We had the Baldwin Motion and we had a regular Z28. And what was cool is when they put those two kits out is we had different pieces in different kits to, you know, have different options of the car. Like this one had the L88 hood, this one just had a flat hood, this one had a three-piece D80 spoiler, this one had, even though it shows on the box, the box car I just noticed has a three-piece D80 spoiler, but this had the Z28 spoiler, like the one-piece spoiler that's on the back of this. We're going to get into all that. But you had different options, Krager wheels, different tires. So, you know, us guys who were into these Camaros, and I was really into these Camaros back then, and I still am. This is like one of my favorite cars. It was so cool. They did these two different versions that had different stuff. You could get almost everything you wanted to build any 70.5 to 73 Camaro you wanted. I haven't opened this up, and I'm really excited because, like we've been talking about, the big deal about this one is the fact that it is a full bumper standard nose, while these were the RS nose with the bumperettes. A lot of us who were into these Camaros really wanted this, which brought the aftermarket company to come in. We're going to go over that too. We're going to have a little bit of fun looking at different pieces, and we're going to look at some stuff in those kits kind of not going to get too heavy into comparing because they're pretty much all the same kit. But I'm just curious to see how they did with this nose. I'm pretty excited with what I want to do, even though I have right here an aftermarket nose that was built or made for these cars as a conversion to make yourself a full bumper standard nose, the blinkers and everything. Now we'll get into this later. What do I need this for? Because now I don't have to cut up one of these to make it into this, using that over there for a certain car that I'm going to tell you a little bit later of what I've been excited about this coming out that I want to build. So why don't you join me with my excitement? I haven't seen one yet. This is, you can see it's still sealed. I haven't opened this up yet. So let's go take a look. Oh, I'm excited about this. I've been looking forward to this kit when they announced it. And I think by now, most of you guys that are watching this, I'm sure you had that other kit when it was, you know, the Baldwin Motion or the Z28 with the rally nose and the bumperettes. And many of you have probably built it. And we've also seen other reviews on this kit. So this is not really a review on this kit. It really doesn't matter. We know what it is. You're just basically watching what I watch right now. Just, you know, I'm excited about a standard nose on a Camaro. And, oh, already I'm so happy. Oh, I was not 100% sure on this. But this is something that I'm very happy, which we didn't have. We're probably going to bust it out. You can't see it that good. But for a long time, we always had to deal with, from the original versions back in the annuals of 1970, is what this bumper and grill came from, is we had to deal with the bumper and grill together. And something that I want to do makes me very happy that it has a separate grill and a separate bumper. That's going to be nice. Only problem I see with that is we have Z28 there, but I'm not going to be too upset about that. It doesn't matter. That's cool. And let's take a look at that nose. I'm going to get all this out. Let's just take all this out. The other things, yeah, that's great. I love these tires. Those tires are handy. I'll be using those with another project. Pretty much all this stuff is the same as we've always had. Really no need to go over it, but we got our rest of our nose there. So I'm just going to play with that stuff and real quick. We'll take a quick look, you know. The decals, oh, they're covered up. I'm not really concerned with that stuff. Like I said, this is not a review video. We all know about this kit. This is more just kind of talking about what they did with this kit that I was excited about, and I bet you there's a whole bunch of you guys excited about it. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the parts that we really want to look at and compare it to other parts from older kits. And you know, you got my first reaction so far. I'm like really stoked about this. Oh wow, that's so cool. Well, okay, let's stop right here and let me just get the parts out that we want to look at, and look at the old stuff, and look at other options we had back in the day and what we don't have to worry about anymore. I cleaned up a few things, got them off the tree, and just doing my little looking around. I haven't done any test fitting, really looking close. I want to do that with the camera on. But there's a few things I saw that I'm kind of, yeah, you know. All around, still, this is like really optimistic. I'm still really thrilled about this. I think this is cool. There's a lot of pluses and minuses. We're going to get into that. But what we have here right now is, here is the new car, the new kit, the new Camaro body. Here is when it first came out as the Baldwin Motion back in 2000, and this a few years later when Model King kind of reintroduced it. This is the one that's out of the Z28, and that has already been started modifications to put a standard nose on it, a resin standard nose. So this one's untouched. But one thing I want to touch is there was always a problem with this body, and it was really cool back in the day. AMT was really making things look more and more accurate, and they did a lot of detail under here, which I personally think is kind of unneeded, but it's cool they did it. But they did detail under here of a headliner. You got sun visors there, and you even have the shoulder belt that stuck up on that was just pinned up there, that nobody ever took them down, because once you took them down you can never get them back up the way they were from the factory. And there was also this right here. You can see they put this blob right there to represent the interior light. So not needed, and what it created was work, because you always, I don't know if you see it, maybe you can see every kit I've ever looked at, there's a dimple there. You always have to put a little bit of putty or filler there and get that all smoothed out. Model King, years later, again, there it was. I don't know if you can pick up on it, but if you guys know, there's always a dip right there. Did they fix it? Well, there it is right there. Not as bad. That's kind of nice. It's still there, and there's kind of a bump right here. Looks like, I don't know, it could be a fault in this particular shot, but I don't know. The roof is going to need attention even still. You got a little bit of a dip there, but it's not as bad as it used to be. But it seems like there's something pooching out right there, so it's not perfectly smooth. So you want to plane this down and still do a little skim coat over here, because you still got a little bit of deforming from that interior light for whatever reason, why the original people wanted to put that in there. It was neat, cool, but you know, unneeded. Taking a look. A couple things I see with this. Now, at the time when this kit first came out, I had two of these cars parked in my garage. I loved this 70 through 73 Camaro. And I had a 71 and I had a 73. And they were both standard nose cars, so I know these things really, really well. So something that I loved when this one came out, I was really pleased of all this detail right here of the headlight bezel, because if you guys remember the old junky kit that kept rehashed, and you know, we were grateful for it, but it was a very basic kit, was the old 70.5 Z28 that AMT put out. Kind of just had really, it was very round here and no detail. So when they did this, they got, this isn't round. This has a shape to it. It's a little more squared than round on the real cars, and they nailed it back then when they did this. And you could see there was the headlight bezel all in there, and you could chrome that out and then put your clear headlight in. And there was even, like, I don't know, a little, looks like a little bulb inside there. So you had your headlight detail. This new one, you still have the correct shape, and you kind of have a bezel, but they don't have that detail down in there. It's not as precise. It's a little different. I was expecting it to be, you know, that. Can you see? But yeah, not a big deal. It still looks really, really good. They got the lines in here. They kind of get a little crazy with those lines, where they were a little tighter in this, because on the real cars, these are all bolted together, and you got the line here, because this whole piece was a separate piece. This was a separate piece that was part of the whole lower valance, all bolted together with bolts back here, and they would be very tight. The lines would be extremely tight. They kind of have those really, that would be look really bad on a real car. But it shows it's still, it's fine. You know, I'm being a little overcritical, I think, but it's livable. I'm not upset with it. Let's take the bottom valance here, which they did a pretty darn good job with that. And I didn't really clean it up. I hope it fits, but I like this alignment pin they got right there. That's really cool. And there's the peg in the hole thing going on. Let me see if I can get this all in together. There we go. Not too shabby. On the real car, it would be like, they would be very, where the blinker goes, all this was opened up like that. Let's get my little pointer here. This was a very big open spot that the bumper brackets came through, and the blinker kind of sat in there and bolted and only came up to about here. So that is actually pretty correct. It fits on there really nice. That's exactly how it would go on the real car. Got a little bit of an overhang right here. You could probably knock this down with a little sanding. And you know, you got to do some work there. And then of course you have your grill that fits from behind, and they did that pretty good. That grill looks pretty decent. Let's see here. Something that I saw that I am, oh please no, I'm really bummed about. Blinkers are not good. The blends, it's just clear. The real one had detail to it. The ones that come with the resin, and there was one caster that actually did them in clear, they had the detail in them. The original ones were off the chrome tree that came in the annual 70 kit that it was just a chrome piece, but it had the detail in it. Now here's something you guys have to understand about the standard nose and the split bumper, the RS nose. Do you see the difference? You see how this was all right here, and you see that line right there? This was all an enduro bumper, and it stuck out farther than the standard nose. So this had to have a full bumper across. This only needed the bumperettes to protect right here, because this is technically the bumper. Okay, so that was the whole thing, and also made for a smaller opening. Also made for a heavy nose. That's why you started seeing a lot of guys, especially the drag strip, they would take these standard noses and put the bumperettes on them to lighten the car up. That doesn't make that a split bumper. So here we go. Let's take a look at what we used to have to deal to get ourselves a standard nose. You'd go from this, and you'd get yourself one of these. So let's take a look. Let's do a compare of the resin nose. And pretty decent. But if you can see, the resin nose incorporated the headlights that they were basically cut from the master. When this master was made, was this portion here of the ball of motion nose was cut off and added onto this. You work here, so you can see that it was kind of a pain of a conversion just to get it to look right, to get everything right. If you wanted to keep your marker light, you had to do a lot of tricky sanding. But this was figured to be the easiest way for someone to just take, well, you take this thing, you hack that nose off straight across, and the resin nose fits right on. Perfect. I know a lot about this resin nose, and there was a couple of resin casters that put this out, aftermarket companies. There was one that put it out, then there was a couple others that put it out. There was only one company that were the ones who created it. Other ones ripped it off, which that's just the way the business is. And how I know a lot about this is because I was the one who mastered this. And again, I had two of these cars in my garage to go by, so I knew what I was doing making this. And I engineered this thing to be a very easy conversion. And I have the proof right here, because whammo, that is the original master. I did this. You can see this piece is even broke off, but you can see where I took, this is an original annual AMT standard nose Camaro kit. I took that kit, I took the nose off of it, cut it off the body, and I incorporated the headlights off of this kit onto here, as you can see, so that it just kept everything nice and smooth, so you had that look of the using the newer bodies. Yeah, it's interesting. So there's the old master. That's what you had to do to get yourself a full bumper. Now, the original annual kit from 1970, this is just a direct knockoff of it, of the bumper and grill, and you see they were all together. And you also didn't have what we have now, which lots of times guys would take them off, so it wasn't a big deal, but these little fangs, which is cool. Now we got the fangs. And then we get into a whole thing that, look, we got separate bumper and grill. So much better. That's so much better. Especially the fact that if you wanted to do one and just put the grill in, and you wanted to take, say, the bumperettes off of the enduro nosed RS nose, you can do that now. Where it was a really difficult chore to do this, but you can see how all that fits in real nice. Isn't that nice? Looks good. This was a really cool conversion kit. That's nice, but you know what? I'd rather just buy this kit. That's cool that we can just get it. Because now look, no work. You don't have to worry about trying to get that line You don't have to cut anything off, glue it on, try to do body work. Oh, this is going to be so much easier. Where I'm not even going to use these, even though I got a ton of them. I'd rather just buy this kit and do this for what I want to do when I do a standard nose. Another cool thing that we don't have in this kit, but if you get a hold of one, or you have one of these Ball of Emotions, remember that hood. You had the L88 hood and fits on there. That's cool. If you want to go with an L88 hood, there's an option. Or maybe someone will pop that out in resin. Now another thing that was cool that the Baldwin Motion car came with, and this seems to be the only one I have, it's painted, but was the 3-piece D80 spoiler, which is, you know, pops right on there. Oh, those look cool. Love those spoilers. This kit that we're getting now, they didn't give us that option. That's too bad. It would be cool if they would have thrown all those options into this kit, because I'm sure they have the molds for it. But you just have this one piece. I never liked this little duck bill, or duck tail, whatever. I don't know. Just one piece Z28 spoiler. But this is a cool spoiler. But you get a hold of a Baldwin Motion, you get that, you get this in the Baldwin Motion kit that you can put onto this. Baldwin Motion put out standard nose Baldwin Motions too. So there you go. Thanks for doing that round 2. It's going to save me a lot of work, and it's also given me an inspiration to do a model that I've been wanting to redo for a long time. And I've been kind of hinting to it, and it's the reason why I rated, you know, those Johan tires off of that other Grumpy's toy. I need this slick, because the car I want to build is the Grumpy's Toy 8 70.5 Camaro. But the version I want to do, which is a really special version to me, and I'll probably cover this in another video, is I want to do it the way it was when it was first built, and Bill showcased it in Hot Rod Magazine in July of 1970, and it was on the cover, and it was a standard nose with 2 little bumperettes on there to save weight, and it never saw the light of day at the racetrack in that configuration. But that particular way the car was in that magazine, I want to build, because I built it years ago, and I've been looking all over for that model. It ended up getting busted up and stuff, and it wasn't really that good. I wasn't that great of a model builder back then, and I didn't have the knowledge I have today. And I think I'm going to do a video about that some other time if I can ever find that old model. Because, oh, the modifications I had to do and what we had back in, when did I build it? I think it was in 1989. That model, although it turned out really cool, was an absolute abomination. And now I could build that exact car really, really well now, thanks to round 2 coming out with this standard nose. This is going to make it so much easier now that I don't have to really worry about this bumper. I've got a grill. Unfortunately, it says Z28 right there, but we'll get around that. Who knows what we'll do. But I got my standard nose, and I can do my Grumpy's toy, the original Grumpy's Toy 8, the way it was that day for the photo shoot for Hot Rod Magazine, before he went with an all fiberglass Rally Sport front end to have the bumperettes, because that was a lighter thing because you're fiberglass. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be really cool to do. That's just one of the models I've been wanting to build again, because the original one I did was so horrible. So there you have it. What do you think? That's pretty cool. All the little comparisons there. Yep. So I've wanted to build that particular car for a long time. That Grumpy's Toy 8 has been a car that I have spent, I got that magazine 30 some years ago, and just I've read about it and just know a lot about that car. It's probably, out of all vintage race cars or any car, anything, that's probably the most personally studied car I ever have done. I want to do that version of it that's on that cover of that magazine, which was a blip in the history of the Grumpy's Toys line. To me, that was an important car and important to me. I'll bring you guys, I'm not going to do a build video, but I'm going to show you as I go with that. And I really do want to get onto that and hopefully stick to it. Don't start bashing me on that. I know I start a lot of models. I have a hard time sticking on them sometimes, but boy, I really want to build this. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank my Patreon producers. If you want to be a producer and get along with these guys and jump on board, go on down to links below and you will see a link to my Patreon to get in and become a producer along with them. Thank you very much. That supports the channel so we can keep these things going. And another way to support the channel, as you know, go to my Teespring. See, look at the shirts and mugs and stuffs that you can get. And that really helps support the channel. Like, subscribe, and share. Share this video because it's cool. Go over to Model Car Hobby headquarters and get onto that Facebook group and join up and post away your models. I get people asking me, hey, I want to show you my models. How do I do it? That's the best way. I watch that Facebook group constantly. I watch every model that gets posted and check them out. You'll see I'll thumbs up it. I'll say something. Sometimes I don't. Doesn't mean I didn't see it, but I really like what you guys inspire me. And I get a lot of ideas for videos from a lot of you guys. So make sure you comment below, because the more comments we got, more discussions down there, the algorithms pick up on that, and that gets this video out there even more. So you know what we always say here. This is me, Lucas C. Keep gluing those fingers together and keep cutting that styrene. And we will see you in the next video. Oh yeah, and keep building model cars, because they're fun!